Hi guys, it's Callie. I thought I would do a video today to share some of the books that I am thinking about reading for middle grade March. Middle grade March is like a middle grade book marathon on BookTube here. It's hosted by Krista from Books and Jams, Katie from Life Between Words, and Amanda from The Curly Reader. So I believe those are the people who are hosting it this year. But I'll put their channels below. But it's just attempting to read some middle grade books in March, and I might have gotten a little carried away at the library because I picked up a bunch of middle grade books that looked interesting, and I have a couple more at home that I want to read. So I thought I would just show you the ones that I'm thinking about today, and you can tell me if you've read them or if they're good or what. So here they are. Okay, so those are the books that I'm thinking about reading for middle grade March, and I thought I would kind of group them here and tell you why I found them appealing, and then kind of how I'm hoping to narrow it down, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get through 12 books or whatever that is in March. So here are the categories that I picked. The first category of books I picked up are these two books about World War I. So if you've been around here for a little bit, I've been trying to read books about World War I over the last year in 2020, and then I think I'm going to continue it here into 2021. I just wanted to learn more about that time period and about what started World War I and just the whole conflict. So these books I found in the library are actually middle grade books about World War I. This one I think is about, I think these are both fiction. I don't think they're based on true stories, but this one is about animals in World War I, and this one is about, I think the premise is that there's different World War I objects, and they kind of assigned it to a different writer, a different object to each writer, and then they came up with a story surrounding that object. So a bunch of short stories in here, basically. But these two both looked interesting. I don't know if I'll get to both of them in March, but I'm going to try to read at least one of them in March. We'll see how it goes. The next category I have going here is a bunch of World War II books. So I guess we're going to do both World Wars in March. So these three are different ones that I found. This is On the Horizon by Lois Lowry. From what I can tell, this is like a collection of poems that kind of tell some of the story of World War II. So I don't know, it just sounded kind of interesting, and it's really short. So I should be able to get to this one, but we'll just see how it goes. This one, I think I'm going to try for sure to get to Number the Stars, Lois Lowry, because this should fit one of the prompts for middle grade March. One of the prompts, I believe, is to pick a book that was written in the decade that you were born, and this book was written in the 1980s, so that fits for me. But I've never read this. I've heard a lot about it. I expect it to be sad, so we'll see if I'm in the mood for a sadder book or not, but I'm interested in this one for sure. And then this is the last one I picked up that was more World War II related. From what I understand, this is a story about a girl who, let's see, I'm going to try to refresh my memory here. Okay, so Hurricane Sandy is coming toward New York City, right? Yeah. And this girl has to evacuate a certain building or whatever with her grandmother, but her grandma wants to sort through some of her stuff and grabs a box of stuff to take with her that contains some memories and things. And then she finds out that there's some memories associated with her grandmother's experience in World War II, or some object. Maybe it was an object like a pen or something. I don't know. It just sounded interesting, and I'm curious to see what this is about. We'll see if it's good. Okay, I got two books here that I think are a little bit miscellaneous. I'm not sure what category I'd put these in, but I have Lizzie Bright and the Buckminster Boy. I basically just want to read this because it's written by Gary D. Schmidt, and I love Gary Schmidt. So I am curious to read this book. Somebody told me it was sad, so I have to be in the right frame of mind to read a sad book, just because I just get emotional. So we'll see if this one is one I'm in the mood for as well. But it sounded interesting basically just because it's by one of my favorite middle grade authors. So I'm going to try that one. And then this one is Stella by Starlight. I've heard a lot about this book. I don't really know that much about it, honestly, but I've just heard it's really good. So I'm curious to see what this one is about. Okay, category here is just more contemporary middle grade books. So this one is called Finding Orion. I believe this is something to do with his grandfather or elderly relative either dying or being very sick and them traveling to see him. And I don't know, that's all I really remember about the description of this. But it has to do, like, obviously some of it has to do with stargazing, constellations, stuff like that. And our family is very much into stargazing and just astronomy in general. So this one just kind of caught my eye because of that. So we'll see if it's good. All right, and then the Vanderbeekers of 141st Street. So I follow Sarah Mackenzie at Read Aloud Revival a lot, and she had mentioned this book a ton and said it's good just to read to families with kids of multiple ages, which would fit with our family. And so I just been really curious about this one, but sometimes I like to read the book first just to have more of an idea of what's going to happen as I'm reading it to my kids. I thought I might try to read this one before I read it to my kids and see how I like it. And then this just was another one that caught my eye just because I've been reading Sherlock Holmes here in February. And this just kind of reminded me that the cover, I think it's supposed to be a detective competition or something that these kids are participating in. So that just sounds kind of cute. Okay, and the last book, which I'll put the picture of here, is the Wingfeather Saga, the first book in the Wingfeather Saga, which is... I'll just put the words right here because I can't remember the name. But I have been wanting to read these books for years. A couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I picked it up and read the first chapter, and I thought it looked really promising, but I just never got around to reading the rest of it. So I would really like to finish this one in March. I think this one's going to be one of the ones that's higher on my priority list. So those are the books I'm planning on reading. We'll see what's good and what's not. I'm thinking about doing like kind of a try a chapter thing for some of the categories where I have 2 books to see which one strikes my fancy. But if you've read any of them and are like, you must read this book, tell me so that I know which ones to bump up on the priority list. Okay, I hope you're all having a good day. If you're planning on participating in Middle Grade March, I'd love to hear what you're planning to read for it. And that's it. Okay, bye.